And now, Effective Communication with Phil Zeller, CEO, Dale Carnegie, Southwest Michigan.
Question for today. Are you a hugger? Do you like hugs? Do you give hugs? Are you comfortable with hugs? Or are hugs awkward for you? So there I was in Italy with my family, with my in-laws. They're all Italian, and so I'm over in Italy, and I'm getting hugs and I'm getting kisses by these big guys, and I'll never forget because I was so uncomfortable with it. It wasn't common nature to me at all to accept all this physical touching and hugging. And I've shared with you before in the show some of my other experiences there in Italy where I became part of a human car wash and stuff, which was a very cultural thing for me to go through. But I think about how standoffish I used to be. Okay? I'm going to bare my soul with you. When I was younger, I did not give hugs. I was not a touchy-feely person, and it was not something I was brought up doing. Because in my household, if you were touchy-feely, you weren't allowed to share your emotions and show your emotions growing up. Because if you did, if you wanted to cry about something, of course, the old saying goes, let me give you something to cry about. And some of you sometimes ask, well, why does Phil laugh about that stuff? You know what? Because that's how I dealt with it. I laughed at it because what else could I do? What else could I do? When you're dealing in a situation as a kid growing up, we all have these things that we do, these little tells. And one of my little tells as I'm exposing myself again today is I laugh. And the interesting thing about it, my daughter's picked this habit up as well, is that when things are really uncomfortable, she laughs about it. And here she was playing in the conference finals of her soccer team tournament here, and she went down. She went down. Didn't go well. She planted her right foot, and again, for my friends, of course, around the world, this is football, and in America, it's soccer, but of course, you call it, it's football. But she put her foot in, and she went down, and she's laying out there on the pitch. I went to the sidelines, and as a good dad, you're not supposed to go out on the field, and you let the medical professionals do what they do. And as I'm off to the side, I hear her laughing. I hear her laughing, and they're looking at her like, what? This doesn't make sense. She's down. She's obviously got to be in pain. She can't get up, but she's laughing. And I'm thinking to myself, I know exactly where that comes from. And I said to myself, okay, this isn't good. She's not in a good position here because I know her, and I know she's laughing because she's very uncomfortable right now because she can't get up. And surely enough, in that game, she blew out her ACL. And that ended the season. Well, that day they beat the team they were playing, and it was enough to get them set up to win the league that they were in, which was fantastic. But she got to watch the rest of the season on crutches after going through surgery. And I go back to the way she responded to that situation. She laughed about it. She didn't cry. She didn't get angry. She laughed about it, and people were not prepared for that. And how many times in a situation do we react in a way that people are not prepared for how we're going to react? Because it's not the way they would react. So does it make it wrong? Does it make it right? Or does it not make it either one of those things? Does it have to be wrong or right? No, it doesn't. It's what that person does in that situation and how they react. And so as we get to understand people and as we communicate effectively with people, there's certain nuances that you and I have. You have them too. I know sometimes people pick out my nuances. Cool. Thank you for listening. Thank you for pointing out something. Let me tie with you how that goes back into the way that I was brought up in my history and my culture of what I've experienced, because there's things about you that you've experienced as nuances about the way that you communicate. But those don't take away. Those add to. Why? Because it's uniquely you. Be the best version of you. Trust yourself that you are you. And a lot of times in life, we're focused so much on critiquing other people because they're not like us. What if we took the time to accept that there's a nuance about them, the way they communicate, and it's important to them? Maybe if we became more interested, we could figure out what that is. I can imagine for everybody on the soccer pitch, it was probably pretty scary, or on the football pitch for my European friends and global friends. It was pretty scary for the crowd and for all of us to watch her down. But to hear her laugh was to be able to get through the situation. And you have nuances. I have nuances. You know what? Be cool with your nuances. Accept what they are because you're uniquely you. And as a presenter and as a communicator, the first person to accept us has to be ourselves. You have to accept yourself. And when you accept yourself for your nuances and who you are, it'll make it so much easier to truly connect with others when you communicate. And that go make it happen.